Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Locker Room Talk Uncut. I am Drew Garrison in the locker room with Chad Penrod. Today, we're going to discuss the upcoming UFC 249 event this Saturday. Tonight's NFL schedule release, what we're hearing, what we're thinking. We're going to touch on Andy Dalton's fit in his new home in Dallas, the possibility of the NBA season resuming, and some interesting takes from Jim Harbaugh in regards to college football eligibility. So that's what we got on tap for you. Good show planned. Chad, you ready to get this thing going?
I'm ready to go.
So let's go into maybe the biggest transaction in the NFL over the last week. Former Bengals quarterback Andy Dalton agreeing to a one-year contract with the Dallas Cowboys worth up to $7 million, $3 million base salary.
It didn't take long.
I don't know all the incentives, but one incentive to get him to $7 million is them winning the Super Bowl. So, but what do you think of Andy's fit in Dallas?
I like the fit, but I don't like how I'm seeing everyone now talk about how Andy Dalton's going to be the Dallas Cowboys savior.
I don't understand. Everybody hated Andy Dalton until he got cut. I've never seen so much Andy Dalton love.
I don't understand it. It's, I think it's people wanting to, I think people realize like it wasn't all on Andy, but it just wasn't there for Andy as far as we said on the last episode, and we always talk, he has to have perfect protection. He has to have weapons, and he has to have a run game, and he has all that in Dallas.
I don't know about perfect protection. They did lose Travis Frederick. That O-line's getting a little older, but he's going to a better offensive line than he had last year.
A really good offensive line. Like you said, they did lose Fredericks, but they're still, 4 out of the 5 spots on that line is solid.
Oh, yeah.
Damn near all Pro Bowlers.
And it's better than, obviously, what he's had the last few years in Cincy.
Right. My take on it is this, man. I always said Andy Dalton, wasn't the guy, and I'm not going to turn away from that. Especially in Cincinnati, I always said he's probably somewhere between 16th to 20th best quarterback. He wasn't the elite one. He was, to me, if you don't have one of those top 12, 15 quarterbacks, you should look for another one, because I'm one of the people that's always said you need a quarterback to win in the NFL. Now, I know there are exceptions. People always want to bring up the Trent Dilfers and the Joe Flacco's of the world.
Flacco got hot. And Dilfer had maybe the best defense ever. So right. Not every team with a mediocre quarterback is going to have a defense that's going to dominate in historic fashion.
And the Bengals, the entire time there in Cincinnati, the Bengals didn't have a dominant defense. So to me, they never really had the guy. Obviously you don't cut him after 2-3 years. You see what he has. They did hang on to him a little longer than I would have, but that's because I'm a Browns fan and we go through quarterbacks like underwear. But my take as far as I'm going to Dallas, like I said, great fit. They just drafted CeeDee Lamb. They got Amari Cooper there. They got Zeke there, and they got a good offensive line and a good upcoming defense. But when you compare them, we can't forget about Dak, who just got franchise tagged for like $20 million.
And he wants like 40.
Yeah, and he wants 40. And this is my take on that situation. I would take Dak over Andy, and it's not by much, but the reason why I would take Dak is because Dak can make plays with his feet. Now, Andy can too. Dak is just
far more athletic.
Yeah, he's far more athletic. When it comes to throwing the ball, I would say Andy's a little bit better, but not enough. Not enough to where I think it overcomes what Dak can do on his feet. So I think Dak is the better quarterback there. But here's where I'm going to do some, reverse reverse what I'm saying here. So no way in hell am I giving Dak $40 million when I can give Andy Dalton $3 million.
Yeah, or 7 at the absolute most if you win a Super Bowl.
Right, yeah, and that's if you win a Super Bowl. So we'll even at the high end say we'll say $5 million to Dak's $40 million.
Yeah, let's call it that.
There's not a $35 million difference in those two quarterbacks.
That's my take exactly. If I'm Jerry Jones now,
I would be willing
pull the tag.
Yeah, I would pull the tag and let Dak walk, just because I don't think Dak's that great neither. Like I said, I think he's better than Dalton, but I don't think Dak's going to go win you, say, 11 games and Dalton's only going to win you 7.
No.
I don't see that. Now, I might see like maybe a game where he can make a few plays, a game or two. So I might see like 9 wins to 7 wins. Something small like that. But it wouldn't be enough for me to say, hey, I like you that much more, Dak Prescott, over Andy Dalton, that I'm going to give you $35 million more than I would Andy Dalton.
That's my exact take on it. I was thinking about that. Okay, he went there, good line, good weapons, top 3 to 5 running back, and Zeke. I mean, I guess there's a few guys you could put up there, but like you said, the defense up and coming. I don't. If I'm Jerry, I'm just going to be like, hey man, thanks Dak. You want too much money? I got Dalton, but the caveat to that is Dalton did only sign a 1-year deal. So how long are
Dalton
they willing?
Clearly wants to be there.
Yeah, I think.
He went to school at TCU.
Yeah, he's got a house like right outside of Dallas.
And I think
he's from Katy.
I mean, I don't know if this was a thing where there was so much. I don't want to say friction with the Bengals because they say they wanted to help him, even though I say they end up fucking him in the long run. But maybe he wants to be there. Maybe he's from Texas. Maybe it's been too much this offseason with, am I being traded? Am I getting released? He missed being traded, in the middle of last year at the deadline. He missed the offseason, and then he gets released when everyone has quarterbacks. So maybe Andy's just like, what, for 1 year, this is the best place for me. I don't have to get my wife, and I don't have to move. And
they live there in the offseason.
Right. So maybe this is just the easy thing for him for this 1 year. Or maybe he's a Cowboys fan, and this is his dream job. I don't know.
I guess that could be. I
mean, he did, I don't know if he's from Texas. Like I said, I know he went to TCU.
He's from Katy, Texas. Okay. I don't know how close that is to
I'd imagine he's probably a fucking Dallas fan, too. So, so that's where I'm at. I would say, if it becomes a long-term thing, I mean, if you can go and get Andy for what the Bengals were giving him, say $15, $16, $17 million, and not give Dak 20 or 40, even then I'm taking Dalton over him just because I don't feel like Dak's that great of a quarterback.
Yeah, put him at $17 million. It's still not a difference of $23 million.
And then you can go get free agents and really build around the team and not have to worry about the quarterback wanting paid so much.
And there's just differences there. Mahomes is going to be up for a new deal. Give him a blank check. Put it. I mean,
Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. It's kind of like, and even though it's a different position, and it just happens to be that we talk about this the most with me, you and Austin. It's like when Myles Garrett's due a contract, and he's going to probably be the first pass rusher to get $25 million, but you can't let Myles Garrett go.
Yeah, you're stuck. You
have to
a
pay
player
Myles
like
Garrett.
that,
right?
But Dak's not that.
Right. Dak's not that. Mahomes, when his contract up,
Wilson,
I would fucking run him the check. Russell Wilson. In other positions, Myles Garrett,
Aaron
Hopkins,
Donald.
Aaron Donald, whatever. You run them the check. You don't run Dak Prescott a $40 million check and make Dak Prescott the highest paid quarterback ever.
No, I just can't see it. And the thing with Dalton is he was on ESPN today. I was actually watching it. He said, he's like, Dak's the starter of this team. I understand that. I'm here to do whatever I can to help this team win if he were to go down or whatever. But I think part of I think, and this is just my own speculation, I think this was Jerry saying, look, I've got a capable 9-year starter, not an elite guy, won 70 games in his career, though. He's got a winning record as a starter. The chips are on the table. Okay, I pull the tag from Dak. Who's going to give him franchise tag money? I just don't see it, especially now. You said everybody else has quarterbacks, so
right.
I think the ball's in Jerry's court. Dalton could excel there. He's not the next Troy Aikman or anything like that. I was ready for the Bengals to move on from him. It's almost like a coach. It's just been too long. It's time. But good situation. I think it's a better situation than a a Jacksonville that we were talking about.
Yeah, he could end up to Jacksonville, and he could end up beating out Gardner Minshew, but who's to say that they have a bad season and he never starts in the NFL ever again?
Yeah,
or he goes to New England where there's no weapons there. I mean, like we said in the last episode, they're over there getting excited about Marquise Lee as their receiver.
Yikes.
So and then not only that, I think, as much as we don't think Belichick can lose, you have to think both those teams are going to be in the running for a Trevor Lawrence, who then Andy's in the same position. As if he goes to Dallas. I mean, Dallas at worst, right? Just looking at him would probably, at least 8-8. Just looking.
If they
right
start
now.
Dalton,
right? Even if they start Dalton, so it takes them out of one of those top quarterbacks. But yeah, kind of back to what we were saying at the beginning, though. I don't see where all the Dalton love is coming from now. And from an outsider looking in at the Bengals, there are a lot of people that always said, well, Dalton's not the problem, and I agree with you, but Dalton was never going to be the quarterback to win you a Super Bowl.
He was always part of the problem.
Yes, exactly. But he was he was a problem until you turn the lights on or you possibly get into a playoff game and he wets the bed. Because I have seen a lot of bad Dalton games. We've been to plenty.
Man, and another thing about him that I hate that really started to drive me nuts the last couple of years. I saw him throw so many balls away on third down. Like,
oh my God!
Fuck it, dude. Risk a pick. It's third down. You're gonna punt the ball anyway, right?
Yeah.
Fucking take a shot. But I mean, he's in a good spot, and just in closing on that, I think Jerry, you could get damn near the same result and save yourself a whole lot of money.
Yeah, and build around everything. Go get a center. Go replace Byron Jones. Go get a tight end. Because you lost Jason Witten.
Your offense is set. You got CeeDee Lamb locked in for 5 years. You got Amari Cooper locked in for 5 years. Zeke just signed a deal. He's locked in. Most of your lines there. Replace your center, and then save that money from him, and go ahead and put more money onto that defense.
A team that, or a player that has just always made so much sense. And he's still a free agent who I think would just fit now, even with Dalton there or Dak. With them losing Jason Witten, man, Delaney Walker is still out there, and it just that just makes a lot of sense to me. But being said, having Dak and Andy on the same team, is that the best backup quarterback duo in the NFL?
I think. And anybody that has heard me talk over the last few years know I wasn't a huge fan of the guy. I think he's probably the best backup in the league right now. I mean, you said he's in the top 15 or 16 to.
So let me ask you this, because this really and you weren't prepared for this question, so I'm catching you off guard with it. So, and it just made me think. Quarterback 1, quarterback 2. Would you take Dak and Andy over Baker and Case Keenum?
Oh.
I wouldn't. I like the Baker-Case Keenum tandem.
I don't. Dak is definitely not better than Baker. I know Baker had a bad year last year, but the shit we've heard about Freddie Kitchens,
I'm not so sure Andy's that. I would say Andy's a little bit better than Keenum, but I wouldn't say he's.
Keenum was just in an NFC Championship game.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm even
2
saying
years
he's better,
ago.
I think Baker and Case are a better one. So pretty much, obviously, Baker's the starter, Dak's the starter. If one of those get down. I think that those are the two teams where you're like, man, they have some, they have a good 1-2 quarterback if something were to happen to, the starter.
I saw some really bad stuff happen with Keenum when he went to Washington. Was he at Denver for a minute?
Yeah, he went to Denver.
But I didn't even. Yeah, you didn't prepare me for that at all. And thinking about it, he went to that NFC Championship with Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah.
So he's going to understand that system. I think Case Keenum's the kind of guy that will help Baker learn that system.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of here running back, go get the yards, and when we have to throw, we're going to make our throws. Yeah.
And I think that Keenum's probably the kind of guy that'll help Baker along. So I kind of forgot about that. Man, you called that Keenum signing way before free agency.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at starter and backup quality, I would probably it's weird putting them together. I think you're right. The Browns are probably a little better, but I still think that Dalton himself may be the best backup in the league now because he's got mid-tier starting quality caliber. Right. So, but system knowledge, and Dalton didn't look all that willing to really pitch in and help Ryan Finley last year either. Now maybe that's just because he was kind of salty with how it was handled.
Keenum's going to help teach Baker.
Yeah, so I think they're pretty close, but I'd probably give the edge to the Browns just because Keenum knows that system, and I think that will help him teach Baker.
And I don't know, and I'm just throwing out those two teams. I don't know of any other team that has, I guess, that talent at quarterback like those two teams have.
I don't really think that I do.
I know Tyrod and now Herbert, but we don't even know
about Herbert. Maybe Phillip Rivers and maybe Jacoby Brissett. Brissett's a solid backup.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's a nice one too.
And when they went with Brissett,
I always wonder where Rivers is, man. Just because he threw a lot of interceptions last year, and he's on the lower end of his playing career. It's I wonder, and not to change the subject here too much, but did you see the tweets coming out about Big Ben and not like saying he does not work out in the off season, like he has no fitness. Like,
I feel like that's a story every year.
Yeah, and but when that came out, it made me wonder, dude. Every time Big Ben's big ass gets on the ground, it's hard for him to get back up, dude.
Like down.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets hit a couple good times in a game, that dude's going to feel it.
Yeah, I think he throws in the offseason, and I think he's got a pretty basic offseason fitness plan.
They said he drinks a lot of beer, which I can see.
Oh, I can totally see that. Yeah, but, and on the subject of Ben, I want every year to be the year that, he shits the bed and it all catches up to him. But I don't know, he got hurt last year, so you're like, okay, is this the end? But, man, I don't know, man. It's weird because if he gets super into fitness and he loses some of that weight and that bulk, does that hurt his game? Is he one of those guys that maybe plays better a little on the heavier side?
I think you would want him to be able to move around a little bit more and be able to take these hits a little bit better than he has in the years past, because you could just see, man, like I said, when he gets hit, you can tell it. He feels it. I mean, that's a lot of weight, going on him, whether it's a lineman, a linebacker, whatever, and then with his weight coming down, you could tell it looks like it hurts.
I could see him though, like I don't give a shit. I'm gonna drink some Busch Lights and fucking hang out. And I look at him a lot like we talked about Rodgers. I don't think he's a good leader at all. I think he bitches and moans too much and calls his teammates out too much. So, that doesn't really have anything to do with what we're saying. I just felt like taking a shot at him, but fuck him. But yeah, man, I saw the reports too, and I feel like every year they say he comes into camp and he looks a little heavy, and then and a couple of times he's put together great seasons afterwards. So I guess that remains to be seen. Another NFL note that I'm just going to throw in here too. I saw that the instant replay for pass interference has been ruled out. It's gone.
I'm glad. So what I think they should have done is, everyone makes mistakes, whether it's an official or a player, a bad play, whatever. I just felt like it took up too much time last year. But I think there should be exceptions when it comes to these big games, like the Saints pass interference that caused all this to come. That should be taken into consideration, because you can't miss a call like that in that moment.
Yeah, maybe like in the last 2 minutes of the half you can do it or something of the sort. I was excited when the rule first got put in, because I felt like, okay, that, is something that needs to be taken care of and addressed because of how it happened in that Saints game, the Saints-Rams game and stuff. But then once it actually happened, it was kind of like it slowed the flow of games down. And I also felt like most of the time when the coach throws the flag, the officials didn't want to admit fault. So
right.
they just I feel like they hardly ever got overturned anyway. They take a long time. They slow down the momentum of a game. I do not know if that takes away booth review or not. I didn't hear or read anything about that. It very well may be a situation where the booth can still review it maybe in the last 2 minutes of a half. I don't know. But coaches' challenges on it, I think, did need to go, because I saw
slowing down the game.
I saw some plays that were like, that's pass interference. Coach threw the flag, and they still didn't overturn it. And I think a lot of it was because they didn't want to admit they were wrong. So you're slowing down the game. Maybe, I'll do a little bit more digging on it. Keep it in the last 2 minutes of the game. The booth can review it. Yeah. That's fine. I'm okay with slowing the game down in those crucial moments. If you're in a one-score game and you're driving down the field and it's 3rd and 10 and you throw a ball and you think your player got interfered with but they didn't call it, that matters because you're trying to drive to tie or win the game.
Yeah.
But, throwing the flag with 7 minutes left in the second quarter and it taking 10 minutes in a commercial break to get everything sorted out, I'm kind of glad to see that go. So let us know your opinions on that after you check out the episode. So I think that is really all the NFL talk, except for...
Yeah, we got to get to the big news. So that we are in the locker room right now, it is 4:45. The NFL schedule drops tonight at 8 o'clock. Hopefully this is up before then and you guys are listening. And we were hoping to come in here and just... as you watch the draft, we were able to leak the picks out early, before they were getting them in. And there hasn't been nothing well, there's been some, but not on the teams that people want to hear. The Bengals and the Browns. All we have so far is we know when each team plays the Jaguars.
Yeah.
And that's it. nothing's been leaked. Cincinnati plays Jacksonville in Week 4. The Browns play Jacksonville in Week 12. Pittsburgh plays Jacksonville in Week 11. And Baltimore plays them, I think, Week 15 or 16. What we have heard, we've heard the rumblings of maybe the Browns, Bengals, Steelers, Baltimore play the NFC East, the Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, and Redskins. That doesn't look like it's happened.
Because there's a lot of verified, not to cut you off, there are a lot of verified reporters that I've seen on Twitter from other teams, like the Bills and Jets are Week 1. I think it's pretty much confirmed that Saints and Bucks are Week 1. So it looks like a lot of divisional stuff.
Yeah, well, and then kind of going to the NFC East there, the Giants play Dallas Week 1.
Is that confirmed?
That's confirmed. And then Philadelphia plays the Redskins Week 1. So I think that we're both in the same position here as to where we think that it's going to be an AFC North versus AFC North team Week 1. So from what we were hearing was the Browns are probably going to get Pittsburgh and the Bengals are probably going to get Baltimore Week 1. But that could change. I mean, that could be the Browns versus the Bengals Week 1. That could be the Bengals versus the Steelers Week 1. We don't know, but we think and we seem pretty confident saying that we think that it's going to be AFC North versus AFC North both games. Week 1.
If there is a God, the Bengals will play the Steelers in Cincinnati Week 1. Joe Burrow, I'm gonna go.
No, listen.
Joe Burrow beats Pittsburgh Week 1 to start it off, and he's a fucking legend forever.
I don't think they would put Pittsburgh in Cincinnati Week 1.
Why not, man? Dude, the Bengals haven't had a home opener
I know,
in so
but
fucking
that's why.
long.
I just don't think that they would. It's weird because Cleveland seems to get home openers a lot. I could see them putting, but this is when the Browns were shit. Not saying the Browns are good, but the Browns are better. They would put Pittsburgh there almost for like a win, and if they're going to put their MVP Lamar out there against the Bengals, who just finished dead last. That makes sense. Those are the two games that make sense to me. Pittsburgh going to Cleveland, or Cleveland going to Pittsburgh, and then Cincinnati going to Baltimore Week 1.
Well, fuck it. Let's roll in because Lamar's getting figured out.
You got to play him one way. You got to play him twice any way it goes.
Maybe play him when they're rusty and the offseason wasn't.
I mean, you know what's coming. A big dose of Lamar. You just get him on fresh legs,
We're figuring, the league is figuring Lamar Jackson out this year. I'm telling you, he's taking a step back. And fuck it, dude. Lou Anarumo, defensive coordinator, if you don't know that name, I'm not shocked. He's going to figure him out. Fuck it.
We do know to start the season off, as you know, the league always starts on a Thursday. We have the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. And we got the Houston Texans.
They're not all going to be divisional. Then there's going to be some movement.
There's going to be some movement. So we, the DeAndre Hopkins, if that's a word, Houston Texans going to Kansas City there, and I expect Kansas City to wipe the floor with them again.
Deshaun Watson, man, request a trade.
I actually heard he's looking closer to an extension.
Most guys sign their first extension with the team, but damn, man, they're fucking him
right.
over.
We got New England and Miami Week 1, Buffalo and the Jets, the Colts in Jacksonville, the Las Vegas Raiders at Carolina. So that is AFC, NFC.
Yeah.
And then obviously Dallas. Giants at Dallas, Washington at Philadelphia, Green Bay and Minnesota. Chicago and Detroit, Tampa Bay and the Bucks, and that's what we have so far.
Tampa Bay and the Saints. I don't mean to correct you.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Just for accuracy.
Yes, I'm sorry. Tampa Bay and the Saints.
So, yeah, not everybody's going to be divisional. I guess there's going to be some other
weird ones. It's almost like a team from a conference is going to play another team from a conference. But so I think there's going to be two divisions in the AFC, two in the NFC that'll play each other, and then the rest will be division. So I'm like 99 point, and I'm on record to say it before it comes out, I'm like 99.9% sure that it's going to be an AFC North battle the first week.
I mean, give us like the fucking Dolphins or somebody, man. Like, we play the Dolphins this year, get Burrow fucking.
I'm with you. I'm a Browns fan. I want the Steelers. If not, And let's do Browns Bengals. Let's get it off right off the rip. But I'm with you, man. Seeing Baltimore week 1, Lamar on fresh legs, a brand new offense, that gets tricky. But that's the thing too, though. I would almost rather see Pittsburgh than Cincinnati, just because this is the
Rusty
year.
Ben.
Well, that and this is the year 1 where Burrow comes out and there's no tape on him. You have college tape. You don't know what they've incorporated. This is why quarterbacks on their rookie year is better than their sophomore year, because there's no tape on them.
I want Pittsburgh week 1 for a multitude of reasons. One, I think, obviously Ben's going to be rusty. They typically seem to start a little slow.
They're an older team. They do start slower.
But for a Bengals fan perspective, we've got this little brother complex against Pittsburgh. The record in the last 10 years, I don't have it in front of me, but it's not fucking good. So my mind is, okay, so let's do this. Give me Pittsburgh. Fuck it. We can go to Pittsburgh. That's fine. Give me Pittsburgh week 1. New quarterback, a new head coach with his full year under his belt, kind of the regime change, these new free agents, the revamped defense, all that shit. Give me all that. Let's start that off. And fuck it, send me to Pittsburgh. Let's start it off. Let's go to Pittsburgh. Let's catch them while they're slow. Let's catch Ben while he's rusty. Let's put some fucking hits on him. And let's start the Burrow, Zach Taylor marriage, new day, new regime, all the shit they're talking off with a win against the guys that we can't seem to fucking beat. I'm in.
Yeah, that would be a tough pick for me. I would, and not to get your wheels spinning here, but I would almost go Pittsburgh over Cincinnati just to start the thing off, just because, one, we don't know how Burrow's going to go, and Cincinnati hasn't hit the defensive line a whole lot to really get after Ben a shit ton, and they haven't really done a whole lot at linebacker.
God willing,
they revamped the secondary, and the secondary looks great. That's where they hit. They got the secondary looking good. Obviously, we know. I think their offense is going to put up points. I think it all comes down to left tackle and right guard. Those are the spots that's still missing, just because, as we've said, Jonah's still a rookie. And not only that, and you and I and Austin talk about this a lot, do you really want Jonah week 1 getting TJ Watt or Myles Garrett? Or, Well,
if it's AFC North, there's not really any good pick. There's good D-lines all through the AFC North.
Yeah,
but, yeah, man, you've had a year to study the playbook. You know that you've been training like a pro. Fuck it. Let's throw him into the fire. Look, man, we're playing with house money right now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Anything over 2 wins, a better season.
So I'm in. And to the point about the defensive line, God willing, Carl Lawson's going to play more this year.
You would think.
Hubbard's been very good. Dunlap's still pretty effective. He's not what he used to be.
It's like, they're still dependent on Geno and Dunlap.
Well,
not that they can't play.
Yeah, they're still good. They're just not what they used to be.
Right.
But to the point of Lawson, when Marvin Lewis was there, he just hated playing rookies, period. They just hardly played.
Silly, man.
And then last year, he was coming back from that torn ACL. So
Lawson's going to be a guy that
hopefully
could end up one of them guys that could come back and haunt the Bengals if he doesn't get like an extension because he didn't play well in Cincinnati and he goes somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Could be a monster.
You know what I'm saying? That's what Lawson looks like to me right now, unless he really breaks out this year.
And what I'm hoping for, because Taylor has shown, Damian Willis, who didn't even stay on the team the whole year, started at receiver week 1. He was about, who he thinks is the best to be on the field, not some of the stuff that I think Marvin was about. So, and as we've said about a lot of these guys, those lower body, those knee, bad ankle, whatever injuries that sit them out, they spend that whole next offseason rehabbing and not training.
Right.
So I'm hoping maybe Lawson had that step back because he was, recovering from the leg injury. Now he's got a full year of that. He's ready to go. He can train because we've seen him be phenomenal. It looked like he could be, one of the better pass rushers in the league.
I love Lawson. I was high on him when they got him.
So God willing, he plays more.
Great rookie season, and like you said, it looked like they just gave up on him.
And his rookie season was good without hardly even fucking playing.
Yeah, which is crazy. And you get a guy like Hubbard, and you get a guy like Lawson. And don't get me wrong, it's it's like the Browns. You want the depth there at the defensive end, but it's like when you can possibly get a pick for a Dunlap, you do have Hubbard there, you do have Lawson. So eventually, you want to see what those guys have. So you can get younger and see if you got something better there.
I don't know how much Dunlap would have gotten. I think Geno could have gotten you a very quality pick. I'm not sure.
And you might
about
be right
Dunlap.
about that, but I still think that they both could have landed you a pick.
They could have. They definitely
probably
could
a mid,
have.
and I always said a mid pick.
I think that Geno's kind of more highly regarded around the league than a Dunlap. But you're right. I like Dunlap a lot. I think he's a great dude. He's great to the fans, great to the city, all that stuff. But I would have been fine with moving on from him.
Right.
I think he can still play. He's still effective. But I got to see more Carl Lawson this year. Like I said, he recovered from the injury. He should have a whole offseason of just training, strength, speed, not rehab. So that would be good. And, and the schedule release is fun. I think it's more fun this year just because of everything.
Well, and we don't know anything. It's weird. Usually the whole damn fucking season's leaked.
Yeah, usually by now we've got a damn good idea. And, looking at it is fun because, as fans we'll be like, okay, do we start off tough? Do we start off easy? When do I play Pittsburgh? When do I play Cleveland?
Exactly. So, I'll go first here. So when I look at the Browns schedule, and there's a good chance it could be released at 7:30 is what they're saying. The first thing I look at is who are we opening with, because it's been a while since the Browns have had a Week 1 victory, and not only that, you always want to start out fast because that puts confidence in your team. So I like for an easy game Week 1.
I'm not trying to be a dick, but I remember 2 years ago I saw a stat on the bottom of ESPN. They tied with Pittsburgh, and it said best start to a season.
Yeah,
so many years.
Dude, they've been awful at Week 1. So I look at who we play in Week 1 first, and then the second thing I look at primetime games. How many Sunday night football games do we have? How many Monday night football games do we have? How many Thursday games do we have? And then third, I start looking for Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Those are the games I care about. And then I want to know. There was a lot of stuff going around that Cleveland could get the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. It came out that it doesn't look like that they're getting the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. But those would be the things that I'm looking at. But
I like Thanksgiving football, but I don't know if I'd want to see my team play on Thanksgiving.
I think it would be fun.
The Bengals did that a few years ago on a night game. It kind of sucked.
I would enjoy that. Just it's Thanksgiving. But true though. You don't want to be stressed out on Thanksgiving.
I didn't mean to catch you off guard.
No. So what are you looking at? Are you looking at the same things when you?
What I've looked for the last few years is, I think the Bengals deserve a fucking home opener. I think I haven't seen it in front of me, but the last one I can remember was like a game against Baltimore, and it's got to be 5-6 years ago. That's one thing I look for because we love Week 1 together. We get all the TVs, we get food. But, man, now that I wasn't buying tickets because of Marvin and all the stuff that's going on. I'm back in. If we get a home opener, I got to go see the beginning of the Burrow era. But that's one of – but, yeah, who do I open with? What did they do last year? What have they done in the offseason? Do I think we can start off right? This is the more exciting schedule release that I can remember in a long time because there's so many differences. There's so much new there.
Right.
And last year I was like, oh, shit, we're going to Seattle. We're going to get the shit kicked out of us. It was like a 1-point game. And, so I was like, cool. But now it's a little bit more exciting because it's like I want him to get off, I want Burrow to get off at a good start. And then what I look for next is Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And for the last few years, up until last season and now, it was usually like, okay, is Burfict still going to be suspended for the first one? Because he like fucking 3 years he was suspended at the beginning of the year. But the first one I look for is Pittsburgh. When is it? That's usually the most likely night game for the Bengals. They played them on Monday Night Football last year in Pittsburgh.
I like Sunday night football games, but I'm not a big fan of my team playing on Monday Night Football.
I'm not either, and maybe it's because I'm scarred from the Bengals fucking up on primetime. And James Sayre, a buddy of mine that was commenting on our post, said the same thing. He's a Steelers fan. He said he just doesn't like them. You're up until midnight watching the game, and if you win, you're all excited. You don't go to bed. You got to work the next day. I can live with Sunday night football, I guess, even though I still got to go to work the next day. But
I like Sunday night football.
I conserve my energy on Sundays because I usually get on the couch and just don't move.
Right.
And then after, where do we play Pittsburgh, I start looking at the last quarter of the season because, okay, whatever my predictions are, do I think we're going to be in the playoff push around then?
Right.
Okay. So the last 4 games, do we have tough games? Do we have easy games? Do I think maybe, we can we can get these wins out of the way, maybe win a couple that we're not supposed to, and then have what should be an easier run. Maybe a team at the bottom of the, they're looking at the draft already, or something like that.
The one thing that I think that we can bank on as AFC North fans, actually, I think any football fan, I think that come week 17,
division,
it's going to be a divisional game, and I think we're opening divisional, and I think we're closing divisional. So,
ooh, man, start and then have a 15-week gap,
and the AFC North is going to be tight this year, I think. So.
I think everybody could possibly vie for a playoff spot. The Bengals being the least likely.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be. I think that's going to be what the AFC North is. I think it's going to be a bash within the division, start to finish. So enough about football here. Even though we can never get enough football, let's transition over here to the NBA. So Drew, the NBA said that starting tomorrow. The NBA has informed its 30 teams that practice facilities can open May 8th if market is no longer subject to restrictions. So what I've gathered is they can almost do an individual workout with a coach at the hoop. So it can be one player and one coach at one hoop, obviously. Another player, another coach at another hoop. I don't know how many hoops are in the facilities. It kind of seems silly. I heard they have to wear masks still.
Yeah.
I think if I was a player, I'd rather just work out at home if I had, a hoop or something.
Work out
seems
most
a
of them
little
have
silly.
hoops.
Yeah.
Fucking work out with a mask on?
Yeah, so.
Sounds awful.
I don't know. Do you think we're going to get this season in? What's your feeling?
I think that they are bound and determined to get it in, and money is obviously number one, but I think they want to crown a champion. I saw today, I can't remember who it was. It was a players union rep, I believe, said that they're willing to go to as late as Labor Day to continue the season and get it out. I think that they will find a way, but a lot of players, I guess, are saying that they don't feel safe. Like Frank Vogel, the Lakers head coach, said today, he's like, yeah, they'll be open back up on the 8th, but we're not coming. We're not doing it. So, personal opinions on that aside, like Michigan extended their stay-at-home order today, so the Pistons won't be back working out.
Till like the end of May. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. So I think that they will get the season back in. I think you might have sent it to me or somebody did. There was a hotel that offered like an entire block
so
on the
that's what
Strip.
I was going to bring up. So Vegas apparently offered the NBA an entire strip of hotels and I guess the court that they play the summer leagues on to finish out the season.
And I think that there's been an offer made by the Wide World of Sports, Disney's or ESPN's facility down there in Disney World in Orlando. So maybe you split half the league up and send one there and some there. Maybe the Western Conference teams go to Vegas, the Eastern Conference teams go to Orlando. I don't know. There are options there. I think now the most pushback that I've really seen was from players.
Yeah. Which, kind of want to get into that without getting too political about it. So here in Ohio, we just got the news today. Restaurants and barbershops are going to open up May 15th outside for restaurants, and then May 21st you can go inside and eat, now at restaurants. And my whole thought process behind that is say I'm out of a job right now and my job opens up on the 15th and I tell my job I'm scared, I don't want to work. I think my job is probably going to look at me and say, I understand, but hey, we will find somebody that wants to work. So if the NBA is offering work to play a game, how is that any different than the lady at the restaurant? Okay, well, if you don't want to do it, we won't pay you the money, and you don't have to play. Sit out.
Well, I think the difference to me there is it's much easier to find a new bartender or waitress than it is to find a new LeBron James.
Well, that's true. That's true, but it is what it is.
The NBA is the most player-controlled league in sports. I agree with you. These are all guys in pristine physical condition. Rudy Gobert got it. Donovan Mitchell got it. I don't believe they ever even had symptoms. They moved on pretty quick. Yeah. Obviously, you don't want to get it, regardless. You don't want to get it even if you'll beat it.
Right.
Saying, well, they'll beat it, so who cares, it's not really the right way to say, because obviously I can beat cancer if I got it. I could beat it, but I don't want to get it. You know, so. But at the same time, if the league has deemed it safe enough to reopen, they have the testing, and that's another hurdle. I think Adam Silver said they would need about 15,000 tests to be able to resume operation. And right now, I'm not sure it's the best idea to give that testing to pro athletes when there are working people like you and I out there that may need them. So that's a hurdle too. But if the NBA gets it in place and they have a setup to where it can be safe, you can go play these games in practice facilities or wherever without fans, and you are able to do it and they can keep you safe, then you should go report. Athletes, they always say, should be held to a higher standard. Obviously, when it comes to somebody's health, that's a little bit different. But in the times that we're in, I mean, this hasn't really affected me all that much. I miss sports. Other than that, I don't really care. I get my hair cut by my brother. I don't really care if I go to a restaurant. But there are a lot of people that are having real life stress, real financial stress. I'm lucky enough to be able to work from my house and do my job and receive my full paycheck, and I'm thankful for that. But there are so many people out there right now that are stressed, that are locked at their house, that may be developing some sort of depression from money issues or isolation or whatever the hell else is going on. What can be the escape from anything that you deal with in life? Sports.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of where I'm at with the whole situation now. You're opening up the barbershops. I can go get my hair cut. You're opening up restaurants. I can go with my family and I can eat, and give us something to do. Now, the last thing is sports. We're going to get UFC this Saturday. Not that we watch too much of it. I think we'll watch the Daytona 500, but NASCAR's coming back. The NBA, though, is probably going to be the last thing that I believe is going to be like, okay, let's open up. I think the NFL has a better chance of starting on time than the NBA even getting the season in.
I don't know about that, but there's a lot of politics involved, and obviously we'll try to stay out of them as much as we can. But the NBA is owned by people that are a little bit more progressive, and the NFL owners are a little bit more conservative. So that's playing into it. And as much as we want to leave this out, there are states that are dominated by Democrats and there are states that are dominated by Republicans, and they're going to open up their cities and states as such because there are different views, and that's fine. But I think, I don't know, man. The NBA is they can have whatever views they want, man, but they're about their money. And how much money do you? I mean, they would have the highest ratings ever for the NBA playoffs. People that don't give a shit about the NBA would probably watch because it's live sports. I mean, I watched ESPN 8 when they had it that day, and I watched a fucking rock skipping championship, and I was like, oh shit, this guy's fucking slinging them because I'm hungry for sports. So your football buff that loves football, doesn't really care about basketball, may see some live sports on, and he's going to watch it. There's so much money to be made, and maybe the highest ratings you've ever seen. You can put your champion that you eventually crown in such a high light, especially, let's say the Lakers were to win it. They lost Kobe, that was tough on the organization. They canceled the game, and then, they come back from the league being shut down and win a championship. They can sell that story. Or maybe a Kevin Durant comes back and the Nets come out of nowhere and win a holy shit.
That's another
story.
They're saying if it does reopen, there's a good chance, or they're saying there's a chance that Kevin Durant could play.
He absolutely should not.
He probably shouldn't, but I mean, I don't know how far along he is.
That'd be fucking wild, though.
Yeah. It would make it that much more like, holy shit, shit just got real. There's another team you can add to a championship contender.
Yeah, because right now the Nets aren't doing shit. But, yeah, you bring KD back, maybe that brings Kyrie back. But to the point of them, I think that the NFL starts on time, whether that be no fans. And, dude, frankly, I don't give a shit.
Right.
I'd like to go to Burrow's first start if it's a home game. Don't get me wrong. It's not going to break my heart if I can sit my ass down and watch football.
Right. That's all we want. It's like the UFC fights this coming up weekend, man. We don't care if there's no fans. It's in a stadium.
I don't give a shit.
We just want to watch people beat each other up.
And I won't care if the NBA comes back with no fans. I think that there's an opportunity to get really creative with broadcasting and maybe miking up some players, putting it on the tape delay in case somebody cusses or whatever. But I think that the NBA will resume. I think that they're dedicated to crowning a champion and getting back in it. I think that they will. And, we saw kind of such a slow transition of, okay, maybe you should stay at your house. Maybe you shouldn't go here. And then it was like, okay, this is going to close and you got to stay here. And now the restaurant. So it's been a quick transition or a slower transition into things shutting down. But I'm seeing a quicker transition in things opening up.
Yeah.
And just in the last week, a week ago, it seemed like we were going to be stuck like this till at least the end of May. And now things are changing, and this is obviously only in Ohio. If we have somebody listening in a different state, please let us know what's going on with yours in regards to, sports or whatever.
Well, we know the Michigan people were pissed.
Man. So I think that they will be back. I think the NFL kicks off on time, maybe no fans. And our local hero, Josh Myers, was at Dairy Queen the other day. He thinks they're going to start off and not have any fans.
I'm sure he might know some things.
Yeah,
there.
He's got some talk there.
So let's get down to the main question: are we going to get an NBA season in your eyes?
I believe so. I believe they will find a way to make it happen. I believe that the league will look at the Players Association and be like, look, we've done everything you need. You're safe. Sorry. Bring your family. They're not going to put them up in fucking Motel 6 rooms. They're going to have nice-ass suites and all kinds of shit, especially if they're splitting it between Vegas and Orlando at fucking Disney World. They're going to have comfortable accommodations. So
Drew thinks that we do get the season in. I, on the other hand, think we do not. I wish I was more optimistic like Drew is, but I do not think that the NBA season there's a finish to it. I do think football starts on time. I think maybe without fans, but that's kind of where we're at on that. So let's transition here to our last topic here. It is a very loaded, and we hit on this last week, UFC 249 fight card. Dana White did his best to bring the UFC back. He was hoping to do it earlier, but we still get it. It's the first sport back. Like I said, this card is fucking loaded. We hit on it last week, so what we're going to do this week is kind of just go over our predictions. What do we think's going to happen? And we're going to start with the bottom cards here. I'm not going to do the real late prelims. Those are a lot of up-and-comer fights. So let's start here with Ronaldo. I think it's Soze is his name, versus Uriah Hall. They have Soze as the underdog, or I'm sorry, as the favorite here, and that's where I'm going. I think this is going to be a hell of a fight. I don't know if we'll be drunk by then. We are going over to Austin's this Saturday and getting together, and we're going to watch this. But, dude, this fight's loaded. I know you're not huge on the UFC, Drew. I know you watch it a lot more.
I'm trying.
Yeah, but this fight here is going to be a great fight. And I think Uriah Hall loses this one. Soze is just he's a brawler, man.
Yeah, and I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of mine. I went with Uriah Hall on that one.
He reminds me of an Anderson Silva. He's just more raw and I don't know. He's just not as good as Anderson Silva once was.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. And then the next one here, Fabricio Werdum versus Aleski.
Fabricio Werdum, yeah,
Fabricio,
the old the heavyweight championship there.
And Aleski Olenek, I believe.
Yeah. So I got a Werdum winning this one here. Could be a knockout. This is a heavyweight battle.
Those dudes are going to throw.
Yeah, two big boys. They're going to throw, and I think Werdum's going to catch him here and probably put his lights out.
I'm actually with you on that one.
So let's go to the fight that is actually free, and this is a big fight. Anthony Showtime Pettis versus Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
A prelim fight.
Yeah, dude. Everyone gets to see this. I mean, we're going to order the main card, but
yeah, but that's going to be on ESPN.
Yeah.
Anybody can watch that.
This is going to be.
It starts at 6:30, I believe.
Pettis is a badass, man. He'll sit there and he'll whoop your ass, or he'll get his ass beaten. Same with Cowboy.
Cowboy doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. Pettis is the actual favorite in here. I'm actually going to go with Cowboy here. I think Cowboy's actually going to catch Pettis, maybe with a high kick to the head. What he's known for. Probably win by TKO is what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking Cowboy, too. I just like Cowboy a lot. I like his demeanor. And, yeah, that high kick is fucking vicious. So I'm with you there. I went with Cowboy on that as well.
Next fight here, to start the main card, the old Cowboy, Greg Hardy versus Johan Castro.
I'm going to go first.
Now, listen, dude, if this gets past the first round, these two are going to be fucking breathing heavy, dude. And I'm going with Johan Castro here. They're both bringing a lot of knockout power. And Hardy's the favorite here. I just think that Castro catches him and puts him down.
I'm going Greg Hardy just because I know that dude is a fucking lunatic. That guy's fucking crazy. So I haven't watched him fight a ton. He's going to be on the main card now, and he's just a crazy motherfucker, so I think he wins.
Going to the featherweights here. Next up on the main card, Calvin, I think it's Catter versus Jeremy Stevens. I'm going with Calvin on this one, man. His last couple fights, dude, he's just been a brawler. I mean, he's quick. Jeremy's been in the sport a long time. I think this is probably going the distance. I think this goes, all 3 rounds. And I think that Calvin wins this by a unanimous decision.
Yeah, looking into that one, Jeremy Stevens, to me, I don't know. He's just a little bit slower. I feel like he doesn't have the.
He's going to be a little bit slower than Calvin for sure.
The kick there, so I think Calvin probably takes that one. And then Francis Ngannou, is that how you pronounce it?
Oh boy, this get ready for another knockout, dude. Back to the big boys and the heavyweights, man. This fight, this is the fight that was going to main event the card in Columbus.
Yeah, that would have been cool to maybe go to.
And dude, Francis Ngannou fucking swings hard. He hits hard, and when he connects, your lights go out.
Yeah, I got Ngannou.
I got Ngannou. Yeah, I can't.
I think he just knocks.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, Rosenstruck is a good fighter. But Ngannou's just, to me, is going to be on a different level.
Yeah, and that's a knockout, I think, or a TKO finish.
Right.
I don't think that goes to decision.
So next fight, co-main event, Henry Cejudo versus Dominic Cruz. As much as I want to see Dominic Cruz win this, and he's got that kind of orthodox fighting style, I think Henry Cejudo is just, dude, when he just beat TJ Dillashaw, them 2 times, dude. That's when he got my respect. I wasn't a big fan of the real small guys when he was down there fighting Mighty Mouse. I just think that Henry Cejudo is just he's probably gonna catch him. I mean, Cruz hasn't fought since Cody Garbrandt, and Cody whooped his ass, and Cody's has done nothing but lose since then. Even though I like Cody, I just think Henry Cejudo is just gonna be too much for him here.
I like Dominic Cruz because the unorthodox, the wild stuff, I think that's fun as shit to watch.
Yeah.
That's kind of where, as I'm trying to get a little bit more into UFC, I like the fucking wild dudes that just do crazy shit. But Cejudo, I think he's just a lot more technically sound. I think he may fight a little bit more under control.
Yeah.
And I think that just in this one specifically, I think that kind of puts him out on top.
Yeah, and let's get to the big one here, man. The main event, Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje. I'm going to probably shock a little bit of people here, and actually our listener, our fellow listener Tim Combs, actually agrees with this one with me. Tony's the underdog. Now Tony's going to slice Gaethje up if this goes on, but Tony likes to push forward in his fights. I mean, the dude does not stop coming forward, and I don't know if he's felt power like Justin Gaethje yet. And if he keeps coming forward and Justin Gaethje's landing these bombs on him, I think Justin Gaethje wins this one by knockout. The UFC insider on ESPN, Ariel, do you know his last name?
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of the last name.
It starts with an H. I can never say his last name. Actually put his reputation on the line a few days ago on ESPN. He said, if this fight isn't exciting, he says never have him on ESPN again. He said he's putting all of his reputation on it. And I agree with him, man. The more and more I looked at this fight, the more and more I liked it. Just brawlers, dude. Tony's going to probably slice him up. If this goes past, I would say the second round, Tony's going to win this fight. But if this is stopped early somehow, I got Gaethje all day, dude. Gaethje throws bombs.
Dana got me hook, line, and sinker, dude. He said this is probably the most violent fight that you have seen.
It's going to be, dude.
And, I mean, maybe in current era, because, dude, I remember my stepdad had UFC VHS tapes when it first started. They were, like, fucking punching each other in the nuts and ripping each other's, like, hair out and shit. But Dana's got me excited for this one, man. Hook, line, and sinker. If you tell me it's going to be the most violent fight I've ever seen, I am all in. I'm going to go against it, though. Tony's going to win.
Wow.
I think Tony's going to push forward and land shots, and I think that Tony wants – because the winner of this fight is going to fight Khabib.
Apparently.
And maybe Gaethje wins it, and Conor McGregor's been right this whole time, and that fight's not going to happen and all this. But I think that that's in Tony's mind. He wants a shot at Khabib. I think that that's going to kind of give him a little bit of an extra push in this fight. He may push forward too much and get caught. Very, very well could happen. I just think that the Khabib-Ferguson has been supposed to happen too many times. It's been laid out too many times, and I just don't – maybe it's personal, but I want to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think Tony maybe pushes it out and makes it happen.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at, man. UFC 249 this Saturday. We just – we can't wait. We looked – forward to just getting into getting together as a group and being able to drink some booze and eat some wings or whatnot and
make some fucking wings.
Yeah. And it's gonna be fun, man. I can't wait. Saturday we get some kind of sport back. If it's gonna feel normal for even just that night for Saturday night, man. And I can't wait.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. Like I said, I'm a newer UFC guy. I like to watch him fight. I've always liked to watch him fight, but I'm trying to work at more, kind of understanding the fighters more and bringing more to you guys. So, but either way, man, like we said, live sports, that's the closest we've had to live sports since then has been the NFL draft. There's like Korean baseball on ESPN, but you got to get up at like 5:30 to watch it. I can't watch it. It's over by the time I wake up. So this is going to be real competition, live sports, winner, loser. And, only thing that's going to be different is there's no fans in the stands, and maybe you get to hear some cooler stuff from the guys on the corners, And is Joe Rogan calling this?
Joe Rogan is calling this.
He was against it, the last one that was supposed to happen.
He's calling this. Oh, yeah. Dana White knew he had to have Joe Rogan.
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of want to – obviously UFC 249 this Saturday. Hope you guys can watch that or at least watch the prelims. Kind of want to go back, man. You sent me this on the way over, and I had just seen it. What is your boy Jim Harbaugh saying?
I would like to go on record that Jim Harbaugh is not my boy. He just happens to coach my favorite team. I'm going to pull this up here. He actually penned an open letter to pretty much just anybody in the college football community that wanted to read it. In regards to college football eligibility, we're seeing a change in the NBA to now the NBA G League offers a program for players to come in and make, I think the highest contract that's been given to a kid fresh out of high school is like $250,000 to play in this new G League Select organization to make some money instead of going to college. And I guess that has sparked Harbaugh to kind of discuss a little bit. I'm not going to read the whole letter. I'm just going to get down to maybe the bigger bullet points of what he's looking for. His proposal is basically this. A player can leave college football. Well, I'll start at the top of the cycle. He thinks that every player should come in with 5 years of college football athletic ability, and he wants the player to have the option to discuss with he and his family to go to the draft at any time, even if it's after his first season. And his idea for that is if he's drafted within the first 224 picks of the draft, or he chooses to sign an undrafted free agent deal with the NFL, he would lose all college eligibility. Or if he's not drafted in the first 224 picks and chooses not to sign with an NFL team as an undrafted free agent, he would have the ability to go back to school with no repercussions. Yeah. You don't have to sit out or anything like that. And the person leaving college early who signs the contract, he would be entitled to complete his degree while in the NFL or return to the school that he left from, once his pro career is done. They say the average NFL career is, 3 to 4 years. So he says, okay, if a guy is a junior and he had 2 more years left on scholarship and he leaves and goes pro, he should get 2 more years of paid schooling whenever he's done. And then he kind of wants more of just like a broadening of the rules to let them explore the pro ranks earlier and, maybe a set, because right now, 3 years out of high school, that's it.
Right.
You can't even, there's like a guy like Trevor Lawrence, for example. He played as a true freshman, won a national championship. He would have been the number 1 pick the next year.
Right.
So he wants that, and then
I like that. I kind of like the, if you don't get drafted in the first 240 picks, that you can go back to college, continue to play football, and get yourself better. The only thing that See, I like that, but then after I think about it for a minute, I don't, because then teams are wasting draft picks, and it's not their fault.
How are they wasting the pick?
So say you take it. He said 240. All right, so say you
224.
Okay,
yeah.
so say you take a kid and the 230 something pick, you draft him, and then he wants to go back to college because he was drafted too high.
Well, that doesn't matter.
I thought that he's saying. Well, I thought Harbaugh's saying he should be given the chance to go back and to school and play.
Well, I guess how many picks are there in the NFL draft? I guess that would matter. That may be all of the picks, and he just said it in that way.
Maybe if there's more picks than that, and I don't know. So I don't know. So maybe that's the last pick. So
32 times 7, and this is without comp picks, I guess. 32 picks per round times 7 rounds is 224. So he said it in a longer way, but if you don't go in the first 7 rounds,
all right. So maybe he should have explained it a little better, or maybe I should have thought it out a little better. Maybe how about if you don't get drafted, you can go back to school.
Yeah, he could have said it that way.
Yeah, and maybe that's what he meant. So if you don't get drafted, you go back to school. I'm okay with that as long as a team isn't wasting a pick on you.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah. So 224. That's 7 rounds times 32 teams. So if you don't get drafted, you can go back to school if you have the eligibility. And a caveat to that is similar to college basketball too. It also says if you do not receive money from an agent.
Okay.
So if you're a freshman and you come out and say, I'm going to the draft, they think I'll get drafted high enough, I'm hiring an agent's giving you money or whatever they do, your eligibility is done.
Yeah.
You can't receive that money. So I guess I should have outlined that in the beginning.
Well, and I guess if maybe I can sit down and read it a little bit better, maybe I should have done that before we got in here. I might have more to say about it. Like I said, as long as it isn't a team wasting a pick, I have no problem with them maybe not getting drafted and say they're a junior going back for their senior year.
Yeah,
I think that's a pretty good idea, actually.
If a team drafts you, it's not a wasted pick. You can't say, hey, well, I don't want to go play for Cleveland, I'm going back to school. You can't do that.
Right.
I'm for it. And I'm not a big Harbaugh fan of his production on the field in big games and against the Ohio State, whatever you want to call them. But that doesn't benefit him any, really. Because if he gets an absolute stud and they say, year one, he can go top 5.
I don't like – and then another thing you said there, I'm not big on a kid coming out after his first year. I think at minimum, and I would actually be okay with it, how about after his sophomore year? Just because, dude, they're still young. A lot of them kids are still just so young, dude.
Yeah, but a lot of people would have chomped at the bit.
I know, but he's an exception. I understand that. But he still has a whole lot of development to do.
And I guess that's on the team.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost kind of like a freshman starting for the varsity team if he's not ready or something. That's just kind of how I feel. There's a lot more maturing there to do to give an 18 and 19-year-old kid like Trevor Lawrence $30-40 million. I mean,
and that's where I think that obviously it's on the team to gauge his physical development, to gauge his mental development, where he's at. And if you don't like him, don't draft him. You can go back to school. No harm, no foul. But I can see maybe extending it to the sophomore year. But
yeah, I like this at least the sophomore year.
It doesn't benefit coaches any because I think they'll lose good players earlier. So, as much as I may disagree with how he does things at the school, I personally think that it's a good idea, a good premise, and he said at the end of the letter he's willing to talk to whoever necessary and have an open discussion for it. He's open to compromise as well. So I think it's maybe a good starting point, and a good compromise could be reached. And because, man, the NCAA is a fucking scam. I mean, how much money has Trevor Lawrence made Clemson?
Yeah,
I mean, he had to get approval to start a GoFundMe for people.
And I mean, Harbaugh's got to do something because he ain't winning football games. I mean, he don't know how to beat.
Stay in the fucking news.
He don't know how to beat fucking Ohio State. That's for damn sure.
God damn, why does he have a job? But let us know your thoughts on that too. Once you hear this, we did put a post out with the full letter that Jim Harbaugh wrote. You can read that. Let us know your thoughts on it. I do think it's interesting, and I think it's maybe time to look a little bit at updating and adapting some of the things in college football on the eligibility side.
Definitely agree.
So getting into our Facebook page, we like to throw a post chatter. We're bored at work or whatever. We like to talk to you guys here. So, we asked what are the first things you look for when the schedule drops for your team. As I mentioned earlier, buddy Jim Sayre, hoping the Steelers don't have too many primetime games. He hates them. And the problem is that they do have a fan base coast to coast that'll drive ratings.
Pittsburgh's going to get primetime games, man. They have too many fans.
you say, you already said your things on there. My cousin John, loyal listener, not going to lie, he's relieved the Bengals don't face Baltimore or Pittsburgh early on. This was before kind of the divisional thing came out.
We thought they were playing an NFC East team.
We might not be out of the woods yet there.
I think they're going to get one of those teams.
And I had a little fun the other day. And I want to get this from you, actually. We've all done it. What's your biggest sports jersey purchase regret? Because I've spent a lot of money on jerseys. Are they hanging up behind you right there?
Dude, right here behind me, I have a Trent Richardson jersey. I have a Johnny Manziel jersey. I have a Brady Quinn jersey at home. Dude, I got fucking Courtney Brown jersey.
Aaron Lakes brought him up on this page.
I got a Brandon Whedon jersey, dude.
You've got a lot.
I got the fucking quarterbacks, man, and I'd have to show everybody my jerseys, dude. But I think the better question for me is like, hey, what good jersey do you have?
What if you bought that you don't regret?
Dude, and off the top, dude, I got a Joe Thomas jersey.
Wear that forever.
Right. I have a Josh Cribbs jersey. I love Josh Cribbs. I have a Jim Brown jersey. You can never go wrong with the best running back ever.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man. So I think that's the better question for me. I do have my Myles Garrett jersey. Myles is
that's a good one.
I have
jury's out on Baker. You got Baker.
I have Baker. You got to have the quarterback, obviously. And then I ordered, and we'll be here before the season. I ordered a Nick Chubb jersey, and Nick Chubb, he's the silent killer, man.
I have 2 Joe Burrow jerseys on the way, and I'll be adding more soon. I got a black one and a white one for home and away games. But, man, I was kind of fucked from the beginning. My very first Bengals jersey ever, my dad and my stepmom bought me, was an Achilles Smith jersey. So I was fucked from the start. But, man, I remember going out and back – sounding a little bit old, but back in the day – they were only $80, so it wasn't as bad. But I was a kid, I didn't have I wasn't working to get money, so I spent $80 on an Odell Thurman jersey after his first year when he tore the league up, and then he did coke or whatever and was gone. After Jeremy Hill's big 2014 season, I went out. I won a little money gambling. I went to the mall, spent $100 on a Jeremy Hill jersey. What a fucking waste! The list goes on and on for me. From the listeners, Josh Collier. He's actually a part of a Black Sheep podcast. He has a Blake Bortles jersey, and I asked, "Did you pay $100 for that?" And he said, "I did." Wow. He said he took us to the AFC title game. And
Jaguars fan. I don't know many Jaguars fans.
I think he's actually the only one I know, and I've known him since school. He's been a Jags fan forever.
Blake Bortles took him all the way to the AFC Championship.
Yeah, he bought the jersey and then he started sucking.
I like their colors.
Eric Durr, dude, get this one. He had a Marcus Vick Dolphins jersey custom made.
Oh, see, so here's my thing. When he says custom made, did he go all the way to where that cost him a couple $100?
I think he did.
Did he hit the fucking hit China for it? Because
I don't know. Marcus Vick was back before I think we all had the real access to the Chinese stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. So
that was quite a few years ago.
Paid a good penny for that, man. That's crazy. That's a good one.
And then Jim Sayre back again said he got a Barry Foster jersey the year before they traded him.
Who?
Yeah. And then got a Kevin Green jersey to replace it.
Kevin Green's not a bad. Yeah, but Kevin Green's not a bad one.
Yeah, Kevin Green went terrible, and he said he got a Rod Woodson jersey thinking he'd be a Steeler forever. Nope, go figure.
Yeah, but those are still good. To me, Green and Woodson are still pretty good jerseys.
Yeah. Tommy McGrew, Dwight Howard in 2012 when he came to the Lakers the first time. I almost did that. Aaron Lakes, man, he went on a rant.
We're Browns fans, man. It just the list goes on.
Braylon Edwards, Tim Couch, Johnny Manziel, Brandon Whedon, Brady Quinn, Kellen Winslow, Peyton Hillis, Borcavius Mingo.
Hillis is right there.
He said, "I finally just started Jim Brown jerseys, and that's good too." He said Courtney Brown, and then he said the fuckhead from Penn State. I can't even remember his name. I don't know who that is. Randy Paulin. Never owned a sports jersey in his life. That's wild to me. He's a big sports fan, but he says he chooses to wear other things.
Listen, Randy played for the Kansas City Royals.
Yep.
As a catcher. He has his own jersey. But I find that crazy that he's never owned a jersey before. That's crazy. I wonder though, I know Randy's a Buckeye fan. So I wonder if he has a Buckeye jersey that doesn't have a name on it.
Yeah,
and then you can't really say he bought that person's jersey because it's just
money to the school.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the great thing about college. You can get those jerseys that only have the numbers. You can be like, hey, was that and it can continue, So like Dobbins, that could go all the way back to fucking Terrell Pryor.
Yeah, or Mike Doss, remember him?
Yeah, so that's what I like about college. So I wonder, we should ask Randy, Like, okay, do you have a Buckeyes jersey that doesn't have a name on it?
Yeah, we should.
Because I've never seen him with a jersey.
I haven't either, no.
But, I mean, I've watched a couple Buckeyes games with him, so I wonder if he has maybe a Buckeyes jersey. It just doesn't have a name on it, if that's what he means.
And another one, I was talking to my dad about this. He's not a Facebook guy. But I remember this, dude, clear as day. We went down to Cook Sports in Cincinnati, and my dad used to be a bigger guy. Then he was pretty big. He paid, dude, I think it was like $350 for like an authentic game-worn Justin Smith jersey, the DN from the Bengals, number 90. I mean, it was the exact jersey. I think it was game-worn, so it was as real as it gets. Dude, he paid so much fucking money for it. I remember it like it was yesterday, and he left the next year. He still got it, actually. It's still at his house, so that was a good one there. Oh, man, that was
now.
rough.
So the jersey that I'm going to be able to have forever that I just purchased, actually, me and Durr actually purchased one, is a Josh Myers Ohio State jersey.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's going to be one to just wear forever.
It's from your hometown.
I can wear them to Ohio State games. I can wear it to the Berg games.
Yeah.
You know, so that's just going to be one that we're going to be able to wear. And then I have a Zeke one. Zeke was a great player at Ohio State. That's kind of cool when you can get the names on a college jersey after they leave, because it's always going to be good.
Yeah, I got a Brady jersey, greatest quarterback ever
Right.
played at Michigan. Tyler Barnhart said Marcus Peters and John Baldwin.
Baldwin okay, but Marcus Peters was good when he was there.
But he just left. Like,
Yeah,
that's
but he
always
was
sucks.
good when he was there. He came in as a rookie and made the Pro Bowl, I believe.
And Tyler Rowland says Chris Brown, number 29 for the Titans. I don't know who that is.
I remember him.
Oh, he said, I mean, no one is even going to know who that is.
I
and
remember
quite
him.
frankly, they
Corner,
shouldn't.
I believe, right?
He said, my dad refused to buy me more jerseys after that. And William Payne said Mike Wallace and Antonio Brown Steelers jerseys. That's not too bad.
They were
AB
good
just
there.
went
They were
nuts.
good there.
So that's always fun, man. Sports jerseys, we all have those regrets, so I thought that'd be cool to get your guys' intake on it. So we like to try to, like I said, give you some questions, some topics, something to get you through the day if you're bored like we are, talk a little bit of sports and like reading them out to give you guys shout-outs. So I think that's about all we have for you guys today.
Yeah.
We will be back
Get ready to watch the schedule drop, man, and see if we're right. Are we going to get Browns Bengals week 1? I want Browns Pittsburgh, but I'll take Browns Bengals so we can whoop your guys' punk ass right off the rip. Let Myles Garrett sack Joe Burrow and put his ass on the ground.
Give me Pittsburgh. Fuck Roethlisberger. Fuck Pittsburgh. Burrow and Zach Taylor beating them week 1, getting over the little brother complex, and setting the tone for the fucking season.
I want Pittsburgh.
And we will have full analysis of that next week and a big review of the huge UFC event coming up this weekend. We'll try to interact with you guys on that, get you some good content, help you guys out with any questions you guys may have with that. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will see you next week. Locker Room Talk Uncut.